What if the most profound power isn't the one you announce to the world, but the one you build in absolute silence? What if the life you truly crave, the one of unshakable strength and deep, abiding peace, is forged not in the spotlight, but in the quiet, unseen shadows of your own mind? You feel it, don't you? That gnawing disconnect. The exhaustion of pouring your soul into your work, your relationships, your self-improvement, only to feel like you're running in place. You follow the rules, you tick the boxes, you hustle, you grind, and yet the results feel hollow, transient. The applause you seek either never comes, or when it does, it fades in an instant, leaving you just as empty as before. You look in the mirror and see a stranger wearing your face, a person who is tired. Tired of the performance, tired of the noise, tired of feeling like a ghost in your own life story. The world is screaming at you to be more, do more, share more, post more, be loud, be visible, be validated. And every shout just pushes you deeper into a silent state of overwhelm. This is the quiet desperation of the modern age, to be surrounded by endless connection yet feel utterly, profoundly alone. You're not failing, you're not broken. You are simply playing a game with rules designed to keep you weak, distracted, and dependent on a system that does not care about your soul. You have been taught to build your house on the sand of public opinion, and you are wondering why the tide of every new day threatens to wash it all away. But what if I told you that your feeling of being unseen, of being overlooked, is not a curse, but a secret advantage? What if that quiet space you've been relegated to is actually the perfect training ground for forging a power so resilient, so absolute, that no external force can ever touch it? In the next few moments, and through the journey we are about to take, you will not learn how to get the world to finally see you. No, you will learn something far more valuable. You will learn how to build an inner empire so vast, so magnificent, and so secure that the validation of the outside world becomes utterly irrelevant. You will learn to become the gray man, the one who moves through life with a quiet confidence, an unseen strength, a silent rebellion against mediocrity. This is not about getting noticed. This is about becoming unstoppable on your own terms in your own private universe. We are going to mute the external noise and turn up the volume on the sovereign king or queen who resides within you, waiting to take the throne. Let's start with a truth that will shift the very ground beneath your feet. The single greatest act of rebellion in this noisy world is to stop explaining yourself. Stop justifying your decisions, your ambitions, your boundaries, your need for silence. Your energy, the most precious currency you own, is hemorrhaging every time you engage in the futile act of seeking approval from those who are not qualified to give it. Think about it. You draft the perfect text message to explain why you can't attend an event that drains you. You rehearse a speech in your head to justify a career change to people who are too afraid to change their own lives. You over-explain your need for a weekend alone to a world that glorifies burnout. In that moment, you are handing over the keys to your inner citadel. You are asking for permission to be yourself. From this second forward, that ends. Your first step in building your inner empire is to reclaim that power. Your life, your rules. No explanation necessary. Your actions will speak. Your peace will be your proof. Your results will be your justification. This is the first law of the gray man's code. Operate with conviction, not for applause. Let them wonder. Let them misunderstand. While they are busy talking, you will be busy building. This is the beginning of your great, silent rebellion. It's a rebellion not against a person or a system, but against the inner weakness that has convinced you that your worth is determined by an external jury. We are not just changing habits. We are staging a coup against the tyrannical inner critic and the deeply ingrained need for acceptance that has held you hostage for years. The path of the gray man is the path of radical self-ownership. It is the conscious decision to become invisible to the drama, the gossip, the fleeting trends, and the shallow metrics of success, so you can become hypervisible to yourself. It's about cultivating a presence so grounded, so potent, that it doesn't need to make a sound. People will feel it when they are near you. They won't know what it is, but they will recognize it as strength. They will see a calm in your eyes that they can't comprehend, a certainty in your posture that is unforced. This is the dangerous power we speak of. It's not dangerous to others, it's dangerous to the status quo of mediocrity. It's a threat to the loud, insecure world that feeds on your doubt. To build this inner empire, we must first become archaeologists of our own minds. We must be willing to excavate the ruins of our past beliefs, the faulty programming that runs in the background of our lives. You believe you are an overthinker, but have you ever stopped to ask who taught you to distrust your own first instincts? You believe you are anxious, but have you ever traced that anxiety back to its source? The fear of not being in control, a fear that was likely programmed into you by a chaotic or unpredictable environment. You believe you procrastinate because you are lazy. But what if procrastination is not a character flaw, but a sophisticated defense mechanism? A way your subconscious protects you from the potential pain of failure, or even more terrifyingly, the profound responsibility of success. Your inner critic, that relentless voice that catalogs your every mistake and shortcoming, is not you. It is a ghost. It is the recorded voice of a critical parent, a dismissive teacher, a cruel peer, or a society that profits from your insecurity. It is a collection of outdated sound bites playing on a loop. Your first act of war in this inner campaign is to recognize that voice for what it is. An echo, not an oracle. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to argue with it. You simply have to stop believing it. When it speaks, you can learn to say, "Thank you for sharing, but I am the one in command here." This is not about positive affirmations that feel like a lie. This is about a cold, hard, strategic decentering of a hostile internal force. You are the emperor. That voice is, at best, a court jester, and you have been letting it advise your military strategy for far too long. Think of your mind as a kingdom. For years, it may have been in a state of civil war. Different factions, fear, desire, ambition, guilt, are constantly battling for control of the throne. The result is chaos, exhaustion, and a kingdom that cannot expand because all its resources are consumed by internal conflict. The Stoic philosophy, the bedrock of the gray man's mindset, offers a path to peace. Not a passive, blissful peace, but a strong, resilient peace. The kind of peace that comes from a well-governed state. The fundamental principle is this: you cannot control the weather, the economy, the opinions of others, or the events of the past. These are external territories. To waste energy trying to command them is to guarantee defeat and frustration. Your kingdom, the only territory you have absolute dominion over, is your mind. Your judgments, your responses, your choices, your will. This is your inner empire. Your one and only job is to secure its borders and govern it with wisdom and justice. When an external event happens, someone insults you, you lose a job, you face a setback. The undisciplined mind allows the chaos to breach the gates. The insult becomes a referendum on your self-worth. The job loss becomes a prophecy of future failure. The setback becomes a sign that you should give up. The gray man, the ruler of his inner empire, sees the event for what it is, an external piece of information. That is all. The event itself has no inherent meaning. It is neutral. It is your judgment, your internal interpretation, that gives it power and assigns it a meaning of good or bad, catastrophic or trivial. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This is not a platitude. It is a strategic directive. The space between an event and your reaction to it is where your freedom lies. In that tiny sliver of time, you have the choice to react like a slave to circumstance or respond like a sovereign. Let's make this practical. The next time you feel a surge of anger, anxiety, or despair, Picture it as an invading scout at the gates of your empire. The old you would fling the gates open and let the scout and his entire army run rampant, pillaging your peace of mind. The new you, the gray man, will see the scout. You will acknowledge his presence. You will not panic. You will not pretend he isn't there. You will simply observe him from the high wall of your citadel. You will ask yourself, is this threat within my walls or outside of them? Is this something I can control or something I must accept? If someone cuts you off in traffic, the event is external. You cannot control their driving. What you can control is your response. You can choose to flood your body with cortisol and rage, ruining the next hour of your day, or you can choose to breathe, to let it go, to preserve the peace within your kingdom. This choice, repeated thousands of times, is how you build an unbreachable fortress. It is the slow, deliberate, and silent work of self-mastery. Now we move from defense to construction. An empire is not just a fortress. It is a thriving, productive civilization. It has laws, it has resources, it has a purpose. Your inner empire needs an architecture. This is where we build. The foundation of your empire is your personal code of conduct, your non-negotiable values. Most people drift through life with a vague sense of what is right and wrong, a moral compass that spins wildly depending on social pressure or convenience. This is why they are so easily manipulated. This is why they feel so lost. A gray man does not drift. He has a North Star. Before you can build anything of worth, you must sit down in the quiet and decide what your laws are. Honesty, integrity, discipline. Courage, kindness, compassion. Choose your pillars, write them down, not as lofty ideals but as operational commands. For example, honesty doesn't mean I'll try not to lie. It means I will speak the truth even when it is difficult. I will not deceive myself or others. I will live in reality. Discipline doesn't mean I'll go to the gym sometimes. It means I will honor the promises I make to myself. I am a slave to my habits, not my moods. These values are the bedrock. When a difficult decision arises, you do not need to agonize. You simply consult your own law. Does this action align with my code? If yes, proceed. If no, abstain. It is that simple. It removes the emotional turmoil and the mental clutter of indecision. It makes your path clear. This is what it means to have an inner government. It is stable, it is predictable, and it is loyal only to the long-term well-being of the empire, your well-being. Once the foundation is laid, we build the walls. The walls of your empire are your boundaries. They are the clear demarcation between where you end and the rest of the world begins. Weak boundaries are the cause of so much suffering. They lead to resentment, burnout, and a sense of being used. You say yes when you mean no. You allow others to dump their emotional waste into your kingdom. You tolerate disrespect because you are afraid of the confrontation that comes with enforcing a border. A gray man understands that strong walls make for good neighbors. Strong boundaries are not an act of aggression. They are an act of self-respect. They are a quiet declaration that your time, your energy, and your mental peace are valuable resources that will be protected. Learning to set and enforce boundaries is a skill. It starts small. It starts by saying, no, I'm not available at that time without offering a long, apologetic excuse. It's saying I'm not willing to discuss that topic when a conversation turns toxic. It's leaving a situation that is draining your energy. Each time you do this, you are adding another stone to your wall. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. People who are used to exploiting your lack of boundaries will push back. They may call you selfish or difficult. This is a test. It is the external world checking the integrity of your new construction. Stand firm. Their reaction is their problem, a storm outside your walls. Inside, you remain at peace, knowing you have honored your own kingdom. Over time, people will learn. They will learn that your border is real. The ones who respect it will remain in your life and your relationships will deepen. The ones who don't will drift away. This is not a loss. It is a necessary purification. With the walls secure, we must train the guards. The guards of your inner empire are your focused attention and your disciplined thoughts. In the modern world, your attention is the most hunted commodity. Every app, every notification, every headline is a trained sniper aiming to assassinate your focus. If your attention is scattered, your kingdom is vulnerable. You cannot think deeply. You cannot create meaningful work. You cannot be present with your loved ones. You are in a constant state of low-grade distraction, a citizen of 1,000 different digital territories, and a king of none. The gray man reclaims his attention as a sovereign right. This is where the mute in our title becomes literal. It means curating your information diet with ruthless intentionality. It means turning off notifications. It means scheduling specific times to check email and social media, rather than letting them interrupt you at will. It means embracing the profound power of boredom, of letting your mind wander without a screen to pacify it. It is in these moments of unscheduled silence that your best ideas are born, that your deepest problems are solved, that your connection to your true self is rekindled. Training your thoughts is a more advanced discipline. It's not about stopping thoughts you can't. It's about choosing which ones to engage with. Picture your mind as a sky. Thoughts are clouds passing through. Some are white and fluffy, others are dark and stormy. The untrained mind latches onto every dark cloud, believing it is the sky itself. The storm becomes their identity. The trained mind, the mind of the gray man, observes the clouds. It notes their presence. A thought of self-doubt is passing through, but it does not identify with it. It knows that it is the sky, not the cloud. The sky is vast, eternal, and peaceful, and it can hold any storm without being damaged by it. This is the practice of mindfulness, of detachment. It is the ultimate mental toughness. You see the negative thought, you acknowledge it, and you let it float by, refusing to give it your energy, refusing to let it land and build a fortress of its own within your walls. This skill, more than any other, is what leads to the state of inner peace that so many crave but so few achieve. Finally, we must furnish the throne room. The throne room is the seat of your power, the core of your being. It is where your self-worth resides. For too long, you may have been trying to furnish this room with external achievements, with the praise of others, with material possessions. This is like trying to decorate a room with pictures of furniture. It looks good on the surface, but it's empty. It offers no comfort, no substance. The throne room of the gray man's empire is furnished from within. Its primary decoration is self-compassion, the ability to forgive yourself for your past mistakes, to treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend who is struggling. It is furnished with purpose, a deep, intrinsic sense of why you are here, what you are building, what your life stands for. This purpose is not about a job title. It is about your contribution, your character, your legacy. And at the center of the room sits the throne of inner peace. This is not a passive state. It is the hard-won spoils of your inner war. It is the calm that comes from knowing you have built something that cannot be taken from you. It is the confidence that comes from governing yourself with wisdom and strength. When you can sit on that throne, in the quiet of your own mind, and feel whole, complete, and powerful without needing anything from the outside world, you have achieved true sovereignty. You have built your inner empire. Let's pause and survey the landscape we've covered. We began with the feeling of being unseen and overworked, a ghost in the machine of modern life. We shifted our perspective, realizing this invisibility is not a weakness but a strategic advantage. We made the pivotal decision to stop explaining ourselves, reclaiming the power we so freely give away. We have declared a silent rebellion against the inner and outer forces that demand our conformity and feed on our doubt. We have laid the groundwork for an unshakable inner empire. We understand now that this isn't about affirmations or quick fixes. It's a deep architectural project of the soul. We have discussed the foundation of a personal code, the walls of strong boundaries, the guards of focused attention, and the throne room of self-worth. You are beginning to see the blueprint. You are beginning to understand that the chaos you feel is not a permanent condition, but the result of a poorly governed inner state. And the path to order, to strength, to that dangerous, quiet power is now becoming clear. But designing the empire is one thing. Living in it, walking through the world as its ruler, is another. That is where the rebellion truly takes shape. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you made a decision purely for the long-term benefit of your own peace, without considering for a single second what anyone else would think of it? Now we must explore how the gray man, the ruler of this internal empire, operates in the external world. Because this isn't about becoming a hermit. It's about engaging with the world from a position of immense, unshakable strength. This is where your silent power becomes truly effective, and to the undiscerning eye, almost magical. In conversation, the gray man is a master of economy. The undisciplined mind feels a constant pressure to fill silence, to have an opinion on everything, to prove its intelligence by talking. It mistakes verbosity for value. The gray man listens more than he speaks. He understands that true power lies in understanding, not in being understood. When he listens, he is not simply waiting for his turn to talk. He is gathering information. He is observing dynamics. He is seeing the world through another's eyes, not to judge them, but to comprehend them. When he does speak, his words have weight. They are not idle chatter. They are precise, intentional, and impactful. Because he is not needy for validation, he is free to speak the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. He can deliver difficult feedback with compassion, but without hesitation. He can ask clarifying questions that cut through the noise and get to the heart of an issue. People learn that when he speaks, it is worth listening to. He doesn't dominate conversations, he elevates them. He commands respect not by raising his voice, but by raising the quality of his contribution. In a professional environment, the gray man is a silent force of competence. While others are busy with office politics, with managing their image, with broadcasting their minor accomplishments, the gray man is focused on one thing: delivering exceptional value. His work is his argument. His results are his resume. He doesn't need to brag about his contributions because they are self-evident. He navigates conflict not with aggression or passivity, but with calm, principled assertiveness. He does not get drawn into drama. He is the eye of the storm. When chaos erupts, people will instinctively look to him, not because he is the boss, but because he is the one who remains grounded, the one whose inner empire is not being shaken. He gains influence not through manipulation, but through reliability. He becomes a leader not by seeking a title, but by embodying the qualities of leadership: accountability, integrity, and a focus on the collective good over personal gain. He is often underestimated, and this is his greatest strategic asset. By the time others recognize the extent of his capability, he has already shaped the outcome. In personal relationships, the gray man brings a depth and stability that is rare and precious. Because he does not need his partner, friends, or family to validate his existence or manage his emotions. He is free to love them unconditionally. He does not bring neediness to the table. He brings wholeness. He can support his loved ones in their struggles without becoming consumed by them, because his inner peace is self-generated. His boundaries, born of self-respect, teach others how to treat him and create a space of mutual respect. He is not a people pleaser, but his genuine care is far more valuable than the superficial kindness of someone who is afraid to say no. His presence is a sanctuary. He provides a calm harbor in the stormy seas of life, not because he has no storms of his own, but because he has mastered the art of navigating them within his own well-governed kingdom. This brings us to a crucial, often misunderstood aspect of this path: the loneliness of transformation. As you begin to build your inner empire, as you raise your standards and enforce your boundaries, Some people will fall away. The friends who only connected with you over shared complaint and gossip will find you boring. The partners who relied on your weakness to feel strong will feel threatened. The family members who are accustomed to your compliance will feel confused. There will be a period where you feel like you are walking alone. This is a critical test. It is the universe asking you, is your own inner peace and self-respect more important than the approval of those who cannot or will not grow with you? The gray man answers with a resounding, silent yes. He understands that this is not true loneliness. It is solitude. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the glory of being alone. It is in this sacred solitude that you do your deepest work. You learn to be your own best company. You forge a relationship with yourself that is so strong, so fulfilling, that any relationship you add to it is a bonus, not a necessity. And in time, you will attract a new tribe. You will draw in other sovereigns, other people who have done their own inner work, and you will connect with them on a level of depth and authenticity you never thought possible. The rebellion, then, is lived out in these thousands of daily choices. The choice to listen instead of speak. The choice to produce value instead of marketing yourself. The choice to offer stable love instead of needy attachment. The choice to embrace solitude over toxic company. Each choice is a brick in the wall, a law in the codex, a sentry at the gate of your empire. It is a slow, methodical, and often invisible process. There is no graduation day. There is no trophy. The reward is the empire itself. The reward is the unshakable peace, the quiet confidence, the deep, abiding strength that becomes the very fabric of your being. You stop trying to change your life, and you start becoming the person who is capable of living the life you desire. The change happens on the inside first, a seismic shift that no one else can see. And then, slowly, inevitably, your external reality begins to reorganize itself around your new internal state. This is the law of resonance. The world doesn't give you what you want, it gives you who you are. So how do we accelerate this process? How do we mute the deafening noise of the external world so we can hear the whispers of our own soul, the architectural plans for our inner empire? This requires a more aggressive, more intentional approach to cultivating silence. We must declare war on distraction. Let's start with your digital environment. Your phone is not a neutral tool. It has been meticulously engineered by thousands of the brightest minds in the world with one goal: to capture and monetize your attention. It is the single greatest threat to the sovereignty of your mind. To build your empire, you must treat it not as a companion, but as a powerful, potentially dangerous tool that must be handled with extreme care. The first step is a digital purge. Go through your phone and delete every app that does not provide genuine, significant value to your life, or that consistently leaves you feeling worse after you use it. Be ruthless. That social media app where you endlessly compare your life to the curated highlight reels of others. Gone. That news app that floods you with outrage and despair 24/7. Gone. That game that provides a cheap, fleeting dopamine hit but eats up hours of your life. Gone. You are clearing the land for your new construction. Next, you must reconfigure the tool itself. Turn off every single notification except for phone calls and messages from a very select few individuals. No banners, no badges, no sounds. You will check your phone on your terms at times you designate. It will no longer have the power to summon you like a dog to a whistle. Rearrange your home screen. Move all the remaining distracting apps into a folder on the last page. Make it inconvenient to access them. Put tools, your notes, your calendar, your camera, on the front page. Turn your screen to grayscale. Color is a powerful psychological tool used to hijack your brain's reward system. A black and white world is far less appealing, far less addictive. These may sound like small changes, but they are profound acts of rebellion. You are taking back control of your own neurology. You are creating an environment of digital minimalism that starves the distraction monster and feeds your focus. But digital silence is only half the battle. We must also cultivate physical and mental silence. This is the practice of intentional solitude. Schedule time in your calendar, an hour a morning, a full day to be completely alone and unplugged. No phone, no computer, no television, no podcasts, just you and your own thoughts. At first, this will be terrifying. Your mind, accustomed to constant stimulation, will go into withdrawal. It will scream for a distraction. You will feel restless, anxious, bored. This is the detox process. Sit with it, walk in nature, sit in a quiet room, let the storm of your mind rage. Do not fight it, just watch it. This is where the magic happens. After the initial storm, a calm will begin to settle. The background noise will fade, and in that quiet you will begin to hear. You will hear your own voice unfiltered. You will have ideas. You will solve problems. You will feel a sense of peace and clarity that is impossible to find in a state of constant noise. This practice of solitude is like a deep cleaning for the soul. It is where you meet the true emperor within. Another powerful tool for muting the noise is the practice of journaling, but not in the way you might think. We are not writing a diary of what I did today. We are using the journal as a weapon, as a strategic tool for mental warfare. The Stoics called it their philosophical journal. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations was exactly this, a private journal for self-correction and self-instruction. Here are a few ways to weaponize your journal. First, use it to capture and dismantle negative thoughts. When you feel a wave of anxiety or self-doubt, don't just let it swirl in your head. Take out your journal and write it down. Drag it out into the light. What is the thought? What is the worst-case scenario it is predicting? Now challenge it. What is the evidence for this thought? What is the evidence against it? What is a more rational, balanced perspective? What would you tell a friend who had this thought? By writing it down, you objectify it. You separate yourself from it. You turn a terrifying phantom in your mind into a few lines of ink on a page, and you realize how powerless it truly is. Second, use your journal for premeditatio malorum, the Stoic practice of negative visualization. In the morning, spend 5 minutes writing down the things that could go wrong today. Your boss could criticize you. You could get stuck in traffic. A project could fail, but don't stop there. For each potential misfortune, write down how you would handle it with virtue and composure. How would you respond with courage, with patience, with wisdom? This is not about being pessimistic. It is about being prepared. It is a dress rehearsal for adversity. By visualizing the challenges in advance and planning your virtuous response, you rob them of their power to shock and derail you. When they do happen, you are not caught off guard. You are ready. You have already run the simulation. This practice builds immense psychological resilience. Third, use your journal for gratitude, but with a twist. Don't just list things you are grateful for. Practice the subtraction method. For each thing you are grateful for, your health, your home, a loved one, spend a moment vividly imagining your life without it. Feel the loss. Feel the absence. Then bring your mind back to the present reality and feel the overwhelming rush of gratitude for the fact that you do have it. This practice shatters the hedonic treadmill, the human tendency to take things for granted. It makes the ordinary feel extraordinary. It fills your inner empire with a sense of profound richness and abundance, an abundance that has nothing to do with material wealth. These practices, digital minimalism, intentional solitude, and strategic journaling, are the training regimens for the mind of the gray man. They are not easy. They require discipline. They require you to go against the grain of a society that is addicted to noise and distraction. But they are the tools that will carve out the silent space necessary for your inner empire to flourish. They will mute the world so you can finally build. And as you build, something remarkable begins to happen. The very nature of your desires begins to change. The things you once craved, The external validation, the status symbols, the fleeting pleasures start to lose their appeal. They seem hollow, like children's toys to a grown adult. Your desires become more refined, more aligned with your soul. You begin to crave not a fancy car, but the freedom to walk in nature. Not a promotion for the sake of a title, but meaningful work that aligns with your purpose. Not 1,000 acquaintances, but a handful of deep, authentic connections. Not a life free from problems, but the strength to handle any problem that arises. You are not renouncing the world. You are simply choosing the real over the artificial, the substance over the shadow. This is the ultimate freedom. The freedom from wanting the things that society tells you to want. You have created your own internal source of validation, peace, and purpose. And so you are no longer a slave to the external world's offerings. This is the state of the ruler in his own empire. He walks through the marketplace of the world, sees all its glittering wares, and can smile, genuinely content, because he knows that he already possesses the only treasure that matters, a well-governed soul. He is the gray man not because he is dull or lifeless, but because his vibrancy is on the inside. His color, his richness, his light are all contained within the walls of his empire, for his own nourishment, not for public display. He has nothing to prove, and therefore he is free. The final piece of this architecture, the one that ensures the empire lasts, is the principle of amor fati, the love of one's fate. This is perhaps the most advanced and most powerful concept in the Stoic arsenal. It goes beyond simply enduring what happens to you. It means actively embracing it, loving it, seeing it as necessary and perfect. It is the belief that everything that happens, both the good and the bad, the pleasure and the pain, is a part of your unique path, a necessary ingredient for your growth. When you face a setback, a loss, a moment of profound pain, the temptation is to resist it, to curse it, to say, "This should not be happening." This resistance is the source of all suffering. It is arguing with reality, and reality always wins. Amor fati invites a different response. It invites you to look at the obstacle and say, "This is my path. This challenge was sent for me. It contains a lesson I need to learn, a strength I need to develop. I will not just tolerate it, I will embrace it as a part of my journey. I love this, for it is making me who I am meant to be." This is not a passive acceptance of victimhood. It is the ultimate act of taking power. It is transmuting pain into purpose. It is finding the opportunity in the obstacle. The ancient metaphor is of a fire. A small fire is extinguished by a strong wind, but a great fire is fueled by it. The wind that puts out the candle makes the bonfire roar. The gray man, the ruler of his inner empire, endeavors to be the bonfire. He seeks to build an inner fire of purpose, discipline, and love so strong that the winds of fate, the challenges and misfortunes of life, do not diminish him. They make him stronger. They make him burn brighter. The obstacle becomes the way. This mindset is the capstone of your empire. It makes you antifragile. Not just resilient, bouncing back to your original state, but antifragile, becoming stronger through chaos and stress. When you can genuinely look at every event in your life and see it as a necessary part of your becoming, you are truly free. You are no longer at the mercy of fortune. You have become a partner with fate, using everything it throws at you as raw material for the construction of your character. So the gray man's rebellion is complete. It began with a quiet refusal to play the world's game of external validation. It progressed through the disciplined construction of an inner empire, built on a foundation of values, protected by walls of boundaries, guarded by focused attention, and ruled from a throne of self-worth and inner peace. It is lived out through a quiet competence and grounded presence in the world. And it is sustained by a profound love of one's own unique, challenging, and beautiful fate. You stop being a leaf blown about by the winds of circumstance and become the mountain that stands firm, Weathering every storm, its strength found not in its noise, but in its silent, unshakable mass. You become unrecognizable not because your appearance changes, but because the very energy you radiate is different. It is the energy of a sovereign, not a subject. It is the energy of peace, not anxiety. It is the energy of quiet power, not loud insecurity. You have built your empire on mute, and its silence is the most powerful sound in the world. So we have journeyed from the noisy prison of modern mediocrity to the quiet throne room of the self-governed soul. We've seen that true power isn't about being seen, but about building an inner world that makes external validation obsolete. We have laid out the blueprint, the foundation of a personal code, the walls of boundaries, the guards of focus, and the ultimate act of self-sovereignty in loving your fate. You now hold the keys. You understand that the frustration you feel is a call to arms, a signal that your inner kingdom is in chaos and awaits its rightful ruler. The path is not easy. It is a rebellion against your own weakest instincts and against a world that profits from them. But it is the only path to the genuine strength, peace, and freedom you seek. The work is silent. The results are monumental. You are the architect, the builder, and the emperor. The construction begins now with your next choice, your next thought, your next breath. The greatest empire is the one within. The greatest rebellion is the one that no one sees. The question that remains is not whether you are capable of building it, but whether you are willing to. What is the one single excuse you will finally stop making to yourself, starting today, as the first act of laying your foundation?